students are more likely to try things when their friends are trying them. At home, we may be battling for our lives on getting broccoli, but then at school, everyone's eating the broccoli. All of a sudden, they tell you they're eating broccoli.
And broccoli's cool now.
Yeah.
Mom, you didn't know?
Put a little ranch on it. Great. So I think of my son would never have a quesadilla with beans, and I would kept making them. Mm-hmm. And then one day he said, do you know that what's really good in quesadillas? Beans.
No, I didn't know that.
Is it? But he ate it at school.
Yeah.
And everybody was eating it and he loved it. So that exposure and that community and a little bit of healthy peer pressure of kids, they're trying it. Let me try it.
Today, we're here with Tarrah DeClemente from Chicago Public Schools, Office of Nutrition Services. Welcome, Tarrah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you here today. I think because, I really know the value that nutrition services brings, not only to the district, but to children. I have a high schooler who is very opinionated about the food she eats. And so I'm excited about this conversation today because I think we're going to get a little bit beyond the food, right? So I want you to start with just telling a little bit about yourself and then talk about what nutrition services actually provide, the services they provide to our students in CPS.
Yes, of course. So I am a registered dietitian by training. I've been with the district for almost 14 years, and I've been in a variety of roles, but I did start as the district's first dietitian. I came on during the Obama era with the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act and all the big changes that happened to the meal program, going to whole grain, low sodium, low sugar. Not a super popular time for school meals,
yes.
But we made all those changes. We had to make them pretty quickly based on the policy passing. And so I started with telling parents and students all about the changes and why their pizza crust didn't taste the same and their sauce and cheese and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've really done a lot of work as a district to meet those flavor profiles and get students more excited and engaged. In that time, I've also worked in Office of Student Health and Wellness. So I've worked on the health side of all the services we do and really just thinking about how the district can support the whole child. So while our core purpose as Chicago Public Schools is to educate the child all the way up and help them to have that successful post-K-12, pre-K-12 experience as well, we also want to make sure that we're serving the needs when they walk into our building. And part of that is hunger and part of that is readiness to learn. And the school meal program really can get to that.
And I think, families feel hesitant because there's this stigma, right, around school meals. Talk a little bit about why school meals are important and what is it that you really want families to know?
Yes, we have worked so much on this. Also, as a district, we're part of community eligibility provision, which means that all meals are at no cost to families. What's so great about this is gone are those days of punch cards, different color IDs, everyone knowing everyone's status. Everyone's meals are at no cost, so everyone can walk through that line. When we think about first, that's access point. Then we think of what's on the menu. Whole grain, low sugar, low fat, low sodium, tons of fresh fruits and vegetables, just that access point, but also exposure to new items. And then as parents, busy parents, I have a current CPS student and one I'm hoping to have that pre-K notice on next week.
Coming soon.
So thinking about time. When I think of my morning, we're down to minutes. We have to leave at 8:06 because at 8:07, we're running across the street. So we can save that time. So thinking of that it's there for everyone. No one will know a family's income based on whether they eat the meal program or not. And it's truly there as a service to families. These are taxpayer dollars. Think of it as if we paid tuition, you would be paying for this meal. So it's all part of that school experience, just like everything else students have access to during the day.
As a former teacher, that was always hard, right? You had the children who got the reduced and you have the children that got the free. And it was always, children will be children. There's always this bicker, right, that happened in that lunchroom line. And then, I often felt so deeply saddened for those students who really couldn't or can bring the forms back or, for whatever reason, right? And had to pay and then didn't have the means to pay and sometimes went without, and sometimes that goes under the radar, right? And so I love what the district did around making it accessible for all, really taking that barrier away from students and really allowing everybody to get access to nutritious meals. Now, kids may have different thoughts, but we know as adults that we are doing the right thing by providing that option. And so I want you to talk a little bit now about the role that nutrition plays in ensuring that children are ready to learn.
Yeah. So thinking of a student walking into the building, so much has to happen. Hanging up your backpack, turning in your homework, that morning meeting. And so first, just making sure they're ready to learn through the needs of just eating, right? So the physiological needs, we walk in, we're hungry. I also love to think about and talk with school leaders about that breakfast as a community builder, a time to reset. Maybe you did leave the house late. Maybe everyone in the house overslept. You missed the bus. It's raining. We all bring that in. And so what's the first thing we can do to just diffuse and regulate our systems? Take a deep breath, have a nice, nutritious meal, maybe a little chit chat, reset, have that time for the teacher to get everyone's papers in order, have the morning meeting topic, thinking time, and we eat, we go, we move on with our day. So really just meeting the physiological needs of the student, and then also having that time of, we're all coming, we're going to eat, and then we'll jump into the day.
Obviously, we want children to come to school on time. We know the importance of being in school on time every day. However, we also know that there are some children that straggle in. And I think a big misconception for a lot of families is that, oh my gosh, if they come in late, then they can't eat. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course. We offer breakfast after the bell. It's a district-wide policy as well as state policy. And we will serve breakfast all the way up to 1 hour before lunch. And then some school leaders have it figured out. If you're an even later lunch and we need you to have that breakfast, we'll always have something available. We have amazing security officers who help us pass that breakfast out because our lunchroom staff does have to get right into the kitchen and start lunch. But absolutely can have access to breakfast if you're running late, if you're tardy, all the way up to that 1 hour before lunch.
And I know you gave us a little earlier in the conversation just this preview of how, meeting policy under the Obama administration around maybe healthier choices. I want you to talk a little bit more about how the district is working to provide those healthier options and that balanced meal option for students. And also talk a bit about the students' role in that and what they play, the role they play.
Yes, of course. So there are pretty strict USDA standards, and the district meets and exceeds those. So we really take the responsibility to feed students the best that we can very seriously, because we know that's also a trust point with parents. So it's the whole grains, the low fat, low sodium, all of that, the variety of colors of fruits and vegetables, and then also the different variety of menu items and offerings. We look at the meal program as a way to showcase all of the amazing diverse cultures we have across the district, and students getting exposure to different foods they may not see at home or foods that their friends love. So also that piece of community building, food education, and really making sure that the ingredients are clean as well. This is something that's, of course, coming out new with the nutrition guidelines, but when I first started with the district, we have an ingredients of concern guide. We started 14 years ago. So now that the food industry wants all of these ingredients and artificial dyes and flavorings out of school meals, great. So do we. We've been working on this and been asking for this. So not only do we meet a nutrition standard, we want parents and families to know the ingredients in there are being monitored too. We don't want to expose students to any other harmful ingredients. We get a lot of student feedback and we love it. I tell the team all engagement is good engagement.
That's right.
It's the only way we can get better.
That's right. We got to listen. We got to listen. We got to listen.
So these are our customers, and what the customer is always right. So we do tons of engagement with students, whether that's through tastings right in their cafeteria. They get to vote. We have little tokens. They get samples. They can vote which ones they like and don't like. And the ones they don't like, we rework or they don't get served. We don't put things on that the students do not vote on. So we do those. We also will do samplings of new limited time offers, we call them. So it may be a specialty item, or if we know we're doing a new menu serve that students may not have tasted, the dining team might make a little bit the day before and have some samples to say, hey, this will be on the menu tomorrow. Try a little today. Or if they see something not quite moving, they'll cut little samples up and say, hey, try this before you go through the line. Mm-hmm. And then students can usually see that that's something they may like, even if they're looking and saying, I'm not sure about that. We have a generic email, food@cps.edu, that gets a lot of feedback as well. And that can be anything from menu offerings to things that are going right at the school or things that they don't think are going right at the school.
I think folks want to hear that.
Food, FOOD, @cps.edu. And we do answer that. And we do take all of those comments to heart, and we do work on the meal program.
Well, as a mother of a CPS student, I can attest to just the effort, right, that you are making, that the district is making to incorporate student voice. Like I said, teenagers are hungry and they're vocal. I love that students have a chance to, voice that. And I also love that you have the website, the email address that you're actively looking at and making those adjustments and changes as you hear from community. I think that's so important. And you talked about really monitoring agreements that, are being included in food. But I know that there's families and students out there with concerns about, like different dietary needs due to allergies and such. Can you talk a little bit about policy? And I know that people want to bring red chips and all of that stuff, right? So talk a little bit about how you kind of handle that as overseeing nutrition services.
Yes. So definitely any students who need a dietary accommodation, whether that's for an allergy or an intolerance, we will accommodate that. There are, of course, some paperwork to be done with the physician. Those go out with the medical booklet, but they're also on the website with the medical forms. And we can replace dairy, eggs, any kinds of wheat allergy. We really look at those top 9. Staff get training every year on how to properly accommodate allergies and not do any cross-contamination. And so that's for those intolerances or allergies. We also have kosher meals available, halal meals available. We have plant-based opportunities for students. So when we think of needs as far as allergies and intolerances, we have that, but we also have those other preferences or other ways that families and students may want to be eating that we also can accommodate.
How do families access those accommodations?
Yes, so they'll fill in the paperwork. If they're unsure where to find that or can't find it online, the school nurse is a great first place to go. That the nurse can make sure they have the paperwork, that it's followed up with the physician if it's needed. They also can walk them down and introduce them to the dining manager. You can also meet right with the dining staff and make that, or again, that food email. We get emails coming in there where parents say, hey, we just got a new dairy allergy, not sure where to start. And we can take them through the process from there.
Great. And so we know families are balancing busy schedules and, we know food costs are rising. It seems like, I was going to say every day, but I feel like every minute. and we also know that we talked earlier in the conversation about time is such a constraint for families. What's a realistic way for schools and families to work together to ensure children are having healthy eating habits?
Yes, this is my top selling point for families. It is so expensive right now, more than ever. And our time is also valuable. So when I think about a busy parent, and I can even think of myself, 2 children. My child, I have one in 4th grade. He eats every school meal available to him, breakfast, lunch, and snack. So he's also my number one informer, him and his friends.
Yes.
But I think of, let me take that pressure off for you. We can have a hot breakfast right at the door, drop your child off. And sometimes too, schools will open their doors a little earlier than start time. So now maybe you buy yourself 15 minutes. You have time to make the bus you need to make to get to work. Maybe grab a coffee, maybe have 5 minutes to sit with yourself before you go to work. So thinking about saving money, all of these meals are at no cost to families. You can have breakfast, lunch, and after school snack, all taken care of. And then truly that time. And when I think also at lunch, we can have a hot meal at lunch. The greatest chef could not hold a hot lunch from drop off to lunchtime. And we have it right there, a hot lunch every single day available to students. So I truly want families to think of this not just as another thing that schools can do. I want them to think of it as something we can take off their plate. Now you're not grocery shopping and meal planning all your kids' breakfasts and lunches and snacks. We've got that covered. Then you have a little bit of extra money to spend on the dinners because the way prices are going, you probably need that also.
Yeah. And I also want them to see it too as an opportunity to ensure that they're getting what they need.
Yes.
Right. Nutritiously. And I also know that if I left it up to my daughter, it would be chips and soda and all that stuff. Right. And so families can also have that reassurance that what they're getting, one, is something that maybe they never tasted before, but we also know that it's meeting their nutritional needs. And also that, yes, time is a factor, right? Yes. As a single mom, I'm telling you, any minute I could save is a minute I would cherish. And so that letting them knowing that they could leave the home and go right to school and have access to breakfast, as you said, saves them the 6 minutes.
Yeah. And I think too, students are more likely to try things when their friends are trying them. So when you talk about getting in those nutrients, yes, at home, we may be battling for our lives on getting broccoli, but then at school, everyone's eating the broccoli. All of a sudden, they tell you they're eating broccoli.
And broccoli's cool now.
Yeah.
Mom, you didn't know?
Put a little ranch on it. Great. So I think of my son would never have a quesadilla with beans, and I would kept making them. And then one day he said, do you know that what's really good in quesadillas? Beans.
No, I didn't know that.
Is it? But he ate it at school.
Yeah.
And everybody was eating it and he loved it. So that exposure and that community and a little bit of healthy peer pressure of kids, they're trying it. Let me try it.
Yes.
That can also help get those nutrients in.
Well, Tarrah, we shared so many great nuggets with families. Is there something else that you feel like our families need to know that we haven't shared yet?
I think as far as the school meal program or just really all of the services at CPS, letting parents know that we take their trusting us with their children very seriously. And if they have an opinion, a thought, they think we could do anything better, they're also our customer. And I absolutely want to hear from them. I know all my colleagues at central office want to hear from them. We want families to know we care about them because we do care about them. And that's real. And so whatever, good, bad, or ugly, please send it our way. Because we're here to help you, it takes a village. We're here to also be part of that raising of all of the amazing children we have in our district. And for me, that's with food. And for you, that's with amazing pre-K programming. So I think it can't be said enough that how much we all care about all of the children. And if that means I have to hear something I need to fix about the meals, then I'm here for it.
Yes, I agree. The best are with CPS.
The best are with CPS.
So we talked about students who may have different accommodations based off of allergies or food intolerances. So I want us to talk about, because, a lot of children go through those lunch lines. What's the next step? So they fill out the form, and then what happens? And then how are students identified in it?
Yes, great question. So the school nurse and the school dining manager will work together to make sure that information goes over to what we call as our point of sale. So just how when you go to a restaurant and you check out, we have a checkout in the school lunchroom. So the student's name would come up and it would have a flag there that would say peanut allergy. So then the person working the point of sale, which is usually the manager, would look and say, okay, you picked peanut butter today. So no, this is peanut butter. You have an allergy, put that back. Or just do that scan to make sure. And then we also have in the back of house, we call it documents hanging up in the manager office. We do that training, just making sure everyone knows who that child is, what lunch period they're coming through, what the allergy is. We also have some pretty wide sweeping initiatives. So for example, next year, all elementary schools will just be sun butter schools. So we're also trying to just make it safe for everybody and removing peanut butter from the elementary setting as well. So there's a lot of different ways, but that'll go through that point of sale and there will be that alert.
And I'm sure you had kids taste that sun butter, right?
We did. I get a lot of feedback from my son about that one. Work in progress.
Yes. We are going to transition into one of my favorite games that I played as a child, and it's red light, green light.
Okay.
Have you played?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a question. And, this is an opportunity for us to really demystify any misconceptions that might be out there for families. It's also an opportunity for us to provide additional information for things that families may be worrying about. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to try to trick you up a little bit, and you're going to get some paddles that will help you share what your answer is.
Okay.
So if the question that I'm asking is totally off base, you're going to hold up the red paddle.
Okay.
If it's could be true, but I want to add some additional context, you'll hold up the yellow, and it's absolutely true. I stand behind this 100%. Then it's great.
Okay.
All right. We're going to get ready to
All
play.
right. I love it.
First question. I'm trying to trick you up here because I think you're ready for me. So meal programs are only for families who are experiencing hardship.
No.
Tell me why.
The meal programs are for everyone. So not only is it that it's at no cost to everybody in the district, but again, just how we were talking about that time saving, that access, the variety of food. So when we think about everything you learn during the school day, think of the meal program as another way for your child to learn about healthy eating, different cultures, all the food that goes along, and the community that goes along with eating. And so it's definitely for everybody.
And I think one other thing that is just basic, and it's essential, it's necessary, right?
Yes, we have to eat.
We have to eat to live. And, students whose, tummy or stomach is achy and hungry, they're not focusing on that. They're like, oh my gosh, I cannot even, we know how we get when we don't
They get hangry too. They can't focus.
That's
and
right.
we want school to be joyful.
Yes.
And so we need to eat and be nourished and have water and move our bodies as well as sitting and learning.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm trying to trick you with this one since I didn't get it with that one. All right. A child's nutrition has very little to do with their learning during the day. Okay. Tell me why.
So just how we were saying, when you think of readiness to learn, your brain and body need nutrients. Your brain needs carbohydrates. Your muscles need protein. You need electrolytes. Just when we think of our bodies being able to function and sit and move and absorb information, we have to have all of those nutrients. We have to have some healthy fats to absorb the vitamins and minerals. And so all of that, our bodies working right, goes into if we are ready to learn and sit and take in information. And even thinking about if you didn't get a good night's sleep or you have a lot going on, no matter what age of the student, we all have things going on through our minds. Being able to be nourished just starts us off in a nice, calm, stable space. And then whatever the day has for us, the day has for us. But at least we're not thinking about eating or all of the emotions that come with being hungry.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
Children may need time and repeated exposure before trying new foods.
Yes,
Mhm.
children and adults.
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's something like it takes 10 times to know if you like a food. And I know anyone who just heard 10 is thinking 10, that is so many. And yes, that is so many, but it
Mhm.
does take that. And when we think of what we naturally love, what do we all love? Salty foods, sweet foods,
Yes.
decadent foods. We all love a family party with all the favorites. And so every day we are not eating at the family party. We have to balance all of that. And so we have to take that time and exposure. And that's what the school meal program also can offer. We're going to keep offering fresh fruits and vegetables every day, whether the students want to see the broccolis and the peppers and the tomatoes and all of that. We know they love fruit. Kids love fruit.
Yes,
It's
they
nice
do.
and sweet.
Mhm.
They love the juice. So we've got them locked in on healthy fruits. Now we'll keep working on those vegetables, the whole grains. And again, just that exposure to different cultures and different palates is also part of just exploring the world. We're in this amazing, beautiful city, all these great
Mhm.
cultures.
Mhm.
And so it might take time, but after that 10, I always tell my children, okay, if it's the 11th time, we can talk about it. But until then, we're going to keep eating it.
And one of the things I always used to say to my students is, I need you to take a healthy bite, a no thank you bite. Something.
Yes.
Try it. Just take a bite.
Try it. You might like it.
you
It's
might
the
like
old
it.
green eggs and ham philosophy.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, I think, this has been so great because I don't think that a lot of families probably think about nutrition kind of in the way that we talked about it today. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I also love the fact that we share that, we're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep showing up with healthy foods. We're going to keep showing up with consistency, with having access to breakfast and lunch in the district. And really, we've taken that barrier away for students to feel ashamed of, wherever they stood in that lunch line or whatever ticket they had or however they were categorized. And so I just want to thank you for your work and making sure that nutritious meals are accessible to all kids in the district. And I also want to thank you for just being open to hear that voice from children because they know what they like and they're very opinionated on what they don't like. But we're taking all of that in consideration and giving them options. So, we're not ending right now. I wouldn't be a good district leader, teacher, if I did not give homework.
Okay.
All right. So homework today, I want to start before I give my homework. I want you to give a reminder or a takeaway. What do you want families, after hearing everything you've shared, what do you want them to walk away with?
I want them to walk away knowing that the meal program is there for everybody, that it's healthy. We're looking at the ingredients, all of the variety for their children to have a well-balanced diet, that the people working in the school care so deeply about their child. They put their love and souls into making that food, and they really want to see the children come through and enjoy the food. And that you can find the menus online. So you can go to cps.edu/menu. You can also type in /food. You're going to find it. If you type in anything around nutrition, you can find the menu by your school. And that would have all the nutrient breakdown, all the allergens. So all of that information is also available for families.
That's great. And I love the fact that you said they can go in and look at the menus for their specific schools. And families, I encourage you to do that ahead of time so that if you want to pack a healthy lunch, there is that option. I know we didn't talk a lot about that because, I know we offer such a variety. So there's really no need to pack a lunch. But, it is an option for some days, so I just want families to be able to know that's there too. And so I think my action item for families is really to visit the website.
Yeah.
And learn all the many options that are available. And if you have families, child that may have food intolerances, there's information on there like what they should do. So I really want you to arm yourself with information. And then I also want you to use this as an opportunity to talk to your child about healthy lifestyles. Because it's not just about what you eat too, it's about what you do.
Right.
So my reminder for families as we close out is that, yes, academics are important, especially when we think about school, but nutrition plays a vital role too. And so I want to remind families to have those conversations with your child and encourage healthy food options every day. And I want to let you know, if you felt like this episode touched your heart, if you feel like it provided you with new information, feel free to subscribe, drop us a question, and share with your friend, colleague, family, and join us next time here in the circle. Thank you.